When discussing strategic deterrence, public opinion is easily overwhelmed by the stealth ghost of the B-2 Spirit or the massive size of the B-52 Flying Fortress. But the actual metrics measured on the battlefield point to a different equation. The platform currently holding the title for the largest internal weapons payload in the U.S. Air Force is not either of those monuments. That title belongs to the B-1B Lancer. Look at the mechanical specs of this machine. It is a block of metal with a maximum takeoff weight pushing roughly 477,000 pounds. To hurl that massive weight into the air, the B-1B is equipped with 4 General Electric F101-GE-102 turbofan engines. The vital differentiator here is the afterburner mechanism. This is an extremely rare feature on heavy bomber lines, granting the B-1B the capability to take off from shorter runways and execute superior high-angle climbs. However, few remember that this was once a project on the verge of death. In 1977, the B-1 program was officially canceled by President Carter. So what resurrected this airframe? How did a Cold War-era weapon platform evolve to become one of the most lethal fire support launch pads of the 21st century? Today, we are not using promotional jargon. Based on internal technical specification reports, we will dissect the machine dubbed the Bone through its physical limits and its grueling financial cost. We will strip down the variable sweep wing structure, a design that provides absolute low-altitude agility but simultaneously turns the aircraft into a maintenance nightmare. We will look directly at the international legal constraints that once handcuffed this platform and the real reason why its 50,000-pound external weapons payload was forced to remain hidden from the public for decades. Before we dive into the data, if you appreciate the power of absolute firepower and battlefield pragmatism, leave a comment below to honor the resilience of this mechanical beast and the technicians keeping it flying. And now, let's start with the most fundamental trade-off: speed. Originating from the crisis era of the Cold War, the initial design of the original B-1A carried a single purpose: penetrating the Soviet air defense network. Its tactics at the time relied on a low-altitude flight ceiling and a terrifying speed exceeding Mach 2. But modern warfare is not just a drag race in a straight line. When President Reagan decided to resurrect the project under the B-1B designation, a landmark physical trade-off occurred. The U.S. Air Force realized that to survive the emergence of sophisticated look-down/shoot-down radars from Soviet MiG-31s, this bomber had to hide itself better. The complex variable geometry air intakes on the original were scrapped, replaced with fixed inlets to drastically reduce the radar cross-section. What was the price for this baseline stealth? The maximum speed of the B-1B was dragged down to roughly Mach 1.25, and when executing low-level terrain following missions, it only hits about Mach 0.92. However, sacrificing this top speed was absolutely not a step backward. It was a deliberate trade-off to regain 2 priceless weapons: a lower radar cross-section and a massively increased payload. The maximum takeoff weight of this variable sweep wing machine was pushed to its absolute limit, skyrocketing from the B-1A's 395,000 pounds to a staggering 477,000 pounds for the B-1B variant. This payload miracle comes directly from the variable sweep wing mechanism. This is a grand mechanical masterpiece, but also an incredible stress load nightmare. During takeoff, landing, or fuel-efficient loitering, the wings extend straight out perpendicular to the fuselage at a 15-degree sweep angle, maximizing aerodynamic lift. But when it needs to violently accelerate and penetrate an air defense network hugging the deck, the wings sweep tightly backward to a maximum angle of 67.5 degrees. At this point, the B-1B transforms into a perfect dart profile, shredding through air resistance and completely eliminating violent turbulence, allowing the aircraft to glide as smoothly as a massive cruise missile through mountain passes. Carrying an immense weight, the B-1B Lancer does not utilize thick physical armor plating around the cockpit to stop bullets. Instead, its life-saving shield is woven from maneuvering agility and radio waves. The survivability of this machine relies on high-speed, low-level maneuvering, and, specifically, its massively upgraded electronic warfare suite. Its central nervous system has been continuously overhauled with the Integrated Battle Station, IBS. This processing suite includes the fully integrated data link, FIDL, network, vertical situation display upgrade, VSDU, color displays, and a sharp new eye, the Sabre Active Electronically Scanned Array Radar. The most terrifying aspect of this system is the Central Integrated Test System, CITS. This is not a simple fault warning panel. It is an algorithm tracking and analyzing over 9,000 mechanical parameters of the aircraft simultaneously in real time. A metal machine weighing nearly 500,000 pounds, a complex computer network continuously processing 9,000 technical parameters. With such a massive volume of operational data, how many people do you think the United States Air Force needs to control this bone? The answer doesn't just completely overturn the large crew design philosophy of the old B-52 flying fortresses, but it also reveals a brutal paradox. A financial nightmare quietly draining the Pentagon's maintenance budget. To control a massive machine monitoring thousands of technical parameters simultaneously, one typically imagines a large flight crew. The mindset of the massive crews on the old B-52 flying fortresses is deeply ingrained in the public consciousness. But the B-1B Lancer was designed with a completely different philosophy. The entire destructive power of this bomber is placed in the hands of an incredibly streamlined crew of exactly 4 people. They consist of an aircraft commander, a co-pilot, an offensive systems officer, and a defensive systems officer. Just 4 human brains must process a colossal volume of information and make life or death decisions in the harshest contested airspace environments. Yet, this personnel efficiency comes with a massive budgetary price tag. The birth of this bomber line was a genuine financial shock to the Pentagon. The estimated cost for an original B-1A skyrocketed, jumping from $40 million in 1970 to $70 million just 5 years later in 1975. By 1977, that figure had hit $100 million for a 20-year operational life cycle. This uncontrollable inflation was the exact reason the project was pushed to the brink of cancellation. When the U.S. Air Force decided to resurrect this project in the winter of 1982, they had to award contractor Rockwell 2 massive contracts totaling $2.2 billion. The objective was to develop and produce a fleet of 100 B-1B aircraft. However, $2.2 billion was just the entry fee. The true financial nightmare lies in the process of keeping this machine alive. The variable sweep wing structure, the very thing that grants the B-1B absolute flight agility at low altitudes, is an overly complex mechanism. It turns the bomber into a bottomless money pit. The cost per flight hour, CPFH, of the B-1B frequently exceeds $60,000 to $70,000 for every hour it is in the air. This price tag ranks it among the most expensive platforms in the entire U.S. Air Force inventory. Maintaining this aircraft is incredibly costly and highly labor-intensive. The issue was further exacerbated as the B-1B's airframe suffered rapid wear and tear, a direct consequence of high-intensity operational use in the Middle Eastern theater. What is the brutal consequence of this economic and physical equation? There were periods when the mission-capable rate of the B-1 fleet plummeted to an extremely low level, hovering just over 40%. More than half of the bone force was pinned to the tarmac like patients needing emergency care. A machine that devours roughly $70,000 per flight hour features a complex wing structure and continuously suffers from mechanical fatigue. Why didn't the Pentagon retire it immediately to focus all resources on the stealth fleet? The answer lies deep within the belly of this machine. It is a truth about firepower that the public often misunderstands when comparing it to the B-52, and a secret regarding 50,000 pounds of weapons payload that was forced to be hidden under the pressure of international treaties. When evaluating a bomber's strength, the public often falls into a visual misconception. The larger the size, the greater the bomb load. Because of its massive airframe and 8 jet engines, many automatically assume the B-52 is the platform capable of carrying the most weapons. But mechanical reality points to a different equation. The absolute firepower advantage belongs to the swing-wing machine. Despite a more compact and aerodynamic design intended for low-altitude supersonic dashes, the B-1B Lancer is currently the bomber with the largest internal weapons payload in the U.S. Air Force. It possesses 3 longitudinal internal weapons bays capable of swallowing 75,000 pounds, roughly 37.5 tons of conventional munitions. This figure surpasses the 70,000-pound capacity of the B-52 Flying Fortress. However, 75,000 pounds inside the belly is still not its ultimate physical limit. Originally designed with external fuselage hardpoints, the B-1B's theoretical total payload could be augmented by an additional 50,000 pounds, pushing its capacity to a massive 125,000 pounds. So why was this power hidden from the public for decades? The answer doesn't lie in technological limits, but in legal shackles. The B-1B's maximum power was handcuffed by the strict terms of the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, known as New START. To comply with this bilateral arms treaty with Russia, the United States had to permanently eliminate the nuclear weapon carrying capability of the entire B-1B fleet in the mid-2000s. This denuclearization required physically severing all nuclear signal cables and completely banning the use of external hardpoints. Disabling these pylons acted as a visual identification feature. It allowed Russian inspectors to use satellites to verify that the B-1B was strictly a conventional weapons bomber. This legal restriction forced the bone to hide its strength, stripping away its terrifying payload advantage during campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan. But every treaty has an expiration date. February 5, 2026, marked a historical milestone that fundamentally altered the balance of firepower. The New START treaty officially collapsed without any extension agreement signed. Russia had suspended the treaty, and Washington decided to simply let it expire. This geopolitical event instantly unchained the U.S. Air Force in terms of engineering design. No longer bound by nuclear arms verification protocols, the Pentagon activated the Load Adaptable Modular (LAM) Pylon program for the B-1B fleet. This advanced system allowed the Air Force to restore all of the Lancer's external hardpoints. The retrofit process required engineers to completely rewire the power and data cables for 6 of the 8 legacy fuselage pylons. The result of this program is a total transformation of its strike configuration. Each LAM pylon boasts a carrying capacity of up to 7,500 pounds. Now, the B-1B can carry 24 missiles internally via the rotary launcher system, while shouldering an additional 6 to 12 missiles on its external pylons. This configuration has effectively increased the aircraft's weapon capacity by roughly 50%. More importantly, the LAM pylons are designed to integrate the Long-Range Anti-Ship Missile, LRASM, paving the way to carry massive hypersonic weapon prototypes like the HACM or ARRW, AGM-183, along with heavy munitions exceeding the 5,000-pound mark. From a bomber with deliberately crippled capabilities, abandoning the New START treaty has transformed the B-1B into the U.S. Air Force's most potent hypersonic launch station. The return of these weapon pylons is not just a mechanical upgrade. It represents a complete pivot in military doctrine. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union, the B-1B was stripped of its nuclear bombing capabilities and shifted to a conventional strike role, providing close air support in theaters like Kosovo, Iraq, and Afghanistan. There, it operated as a flying armory, loitering for hours above insurgents. But in the future of modern warfare, facing an integrated air defense network in the Pacific, the B-1B will typically no longer act as a low-level penetrator. It is actively transitioning into a standoff anti-ship assassin. This transition has stimulated the sharpest minds among military observers and veterans. On open-source forums, a bold vision has been drafted, playfully dubbed the B-1C variant. This concept proposes a complete redesign of the wings, optimized for cruising at 60,000 feet, replacing the 4 legacy engines with advanced GEXA-100 adaptive cycle engines to achieve Mach 2.0 supercruise capabilities. Combined with an ANAPG-81 AESA radar system and F-35 class sensors, the B-1B would evolve into a dedicated rear-echelon missile truck. Why did this concept emerge? Because while stealth fighters like the F-35 and F-22 possess excellent low observability, they are severely limited by internal weapon capacity. In a combat scenario, this conceptual B-1B would fly at Mach 2.0, receive target coordinates from an F-35 penetrating deep on the front lines, and unleash a barrage of dozens of ultra-long-range air-to-air missiles, or LRASM anti-ship missiles in support. Although such a comprehensive upgrade demands massive costs and resources, currently prioritized for the B-21 Raider, the missile truck concept accurately reflects the U.S. Air Force's critical shortfall in magazine depth. The B-1B is the most pragmatic solution currently available. Looking back at the life cycle of the B-1B Lancer, we see a paradox of existence. It is a machine drafted on Cold War blueprints with the sole purpose of penetrating the Soviet air defense net. It was once nearly killed off by the government, had its firepower shackled by bilateral treaties, and burns through roughly $60,000 of the military's budget for every single flight hour just to maintain operational status. From a purely economic standpoint, maintaining such a rapidly fatiguing swing-wing machine is a heavy burden. The B-52 might be cheaper to maintain and have its lifespan extended into the 2050s. But in contested airspace, the B-52 is merely a giant decoy target, lacking survivability without fighter escorts clearing the path. Conversely, its mechanical resilience and razor-sharp electronic warfare system upgrades have proven that the B-1B Lancer is not a flying museum. It is a tactical firepower backbone, shouldering the largest and most flexible physical deterrence capability in the U.S. Air Force. It will continue to carry out the Bone mission until it must hand over the skies to the B-21 Raider stealth fleet in the 2030s. Facing the future of asymmetric warfare, the U.S. military is confronting a life-or-death budgetary question. Which solution do you stand behind? Continue accepting a $70,000 per flight hour price tag to maintain massive payload supersonic missile trucks like the B-1B Lancer? Or completely scrap this legacy platform to funnel the budget into thousands of cheap, suicide unmanned aerial vehicles? Is modern warfare decided by the absolute firepower of giants or the economics of invisible swarms? Leave your strategic perspective in the comments section below. If you want to continue dissecting state-of-the-art war machines and the most razor-sharp military doctrines, hit the subscribe button. Goodbye, and see you on the next campaign.